I couldn't shake the feeling that tonight was different. Dinner at my parents' house usually felt like a performance: polished smiles, polite laughter, forced compliments. But as I walked into the dining room, I noticed something off. "Ethan, sit down," Dad said, his tone unusually clipped. Richard Walker always had that way of making simple instructions sound like orders. I shrugged, taking my seat. "Everything okay, Dad?" He exchanged a glance with Mom. Clara Walker's smile was tight, brittle. "We're fine," she said, voice light but distant. I picked at my food, listening. Liam's voice rang in my head. "Just enjoy the meal, don't overthink it." But something in the air made me tense, like static before a storm. "Ethan, your college application. Have you thought about where you'll really go?" Dad asked. I paused, fork in midair. "Yeah, I'm thinking about State University." Mom scoffed softly, almost imperceptibly. "State? Really? We could do better. Prestige matters, Ethan. It always does." I frowned. "Prestige? Mom, I want to go where I can learn, not just look good on paper." They exchanged a glance again, a secret I wasn't meant to see. My stomach turned. Later, I excused myself to grab water from the kitchen. That's when I overheard it. "I don't care what it costs," Dad said, low and urgent. "If we can push him toward the Easton Prep program, the social connections alone will pay off. Ethan doesn't need to know. It's better this way." Mom's voice followed, calm but sharp. "I know, but he'll hate us. He's so stubborn. I don't think he'll ever forgive this." I froze. My fork clattered onto the counter. "They're talking about me, my choices, my life, like I'm some pawn." "You don't understand," Dad said. "It's for the family, for our image. It's worth it." "Image," I whispered under my breath. "You're destroying me for image?" I felt rage pulse through me, hot and dizzying. My hands trembled as I leaned against the counter. Fear twisted with betrayal. I wanted to yell, storm in, demand answers, but I stayed silent. Later, Liam dropped by unannounced. I hadn't texted him, but somehow he knew. "Hey," he said, stepping into the living room. "You okay? You look off." I forced a smile. "I'm fine. Just tired." He didn't look convinced. "You don't look fine. Did something happen at home?" I shook my head. "Nothing, just family stuff." He sat down, resting his elbows on his knees. "Ethan, talk to me. You can't just bottle it up. I know you better than anyone." I swallowed, trying to steady my voice. "It's complicated. They're different than I thought. Mom and Dad, I mean." Liam frowned. "Different how?" I hesitated, words catching in my throat. "If I tell him now, he won't understand." "Not yet. They're prioritizing their reputation over me. Over everything I want." Liam's eyes widened. That's messed up, man." "Yeah," I muttered. "It's worse than I can even explain." We stayed in silence for a while, the room thick with unspoken thoughts. I watched him closely. He didn't push further, but I knew he'd be there. That was enough for now. Later that night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. I kept replaying their conversation, every word etched in my mind. I felt like I'd been stripped bare, exposed to a world I thought I knew but didn't. Fear, anger, and confusion collided inside me. I can't trust them. Not anymore. The thought made me shiver. And somewhere deep inside, a plan, small, dangerous, started forming. I didn't know what I would do yet. But I knew one thing: my life, my choices, weren't theirs to control. And that realization, that first crack in the facade, it changed everything. I couldn't stop thinking about what I'd overheard. My parents weren't just careless, they were deliberate. Every word they spoke haunted me. I wanted answers, but walking up to them directly felt impossible. "Mom, Dad, can I ask you something?" I said at breakfast, trying to sound casual. Clara looked up from her coffee, eyebrows raised. "Of course, Ethan. What's on your mind?" I hesitated. Do you ever make decisions for me without asking what I want?" Richard's fork paused midair. "Decisions? Like what?" I clenched my jaw. "Like my college, my life choices. Do you ever consider how I feel?" Mom's face hardened. "Ethan, we always consider your future. We want the best for you." I swallowed hard. "The best for you, maybe. Not me." Dad's eyes flickered, annoyance thinly veiled. "Don't be dramatic. Everything we do is for your benefit." I wanted to scream. "Benefit? You're sacrificing my dreams for your image." Clara's lips tightened. "Ethan, that's enough." I shook my head, words tumbling out. "No, it's not enough. You think prestige matters more than me. More than what I want. Don't you see how wrong that is?" Richard sighed and leaned back. You'll understand one day. Right now, you're too young to see the bigger picture. You call ruining my life the bigger picture? I snapped, voice cracking. Mom didn't answer. Dad just stared, expression unreadable. I left the table without another word, stomach tight, mind racing. Later, I met Sophie Bennett at the coffee shop near campus. She smiled, but her eyes searched mine like she knew I was somewhere else. You okay, Ethan? You've been distant, she said softly. I shook my head, stirring my drink absent-mindedly. I'm tired. Family stuff. Sophie leaned closer. Family stuff? You can tell me. You always do. I laughed bitterly. Always do. Maybe I should have stopped trusting so easily. Her hand brushed mine. Ethan, what's going on? You can't just shut people out. I swallowed. It's complicated. My parents, they've been making choices for me, Sophie. Decisions I didn't consent to. Plans I would never agree to. I feel like I've been used. Her brows knitted. Used? Ethan, that's serious. Did something happen? I bit my lip, trying to control the tremor in my voice. I overheard them. They're manipulating my life to keep up appearances, for prestige, for power. It's like nothing I've done matters, unless it reflects well on them. Sophie's eyes widened. Oh, Ethan. She squeezed my hand. I'm so sorry. That's awful. I looked down. I don't know if I can forgive them. Part of me wants to confront them, make them feel what I feel. Another part wants to stay quiet, survive, keep my life intact. Sophie nodded slowly. I get it. But punishing yourself with anger won't help either. You need to think carefully. Don't let them control you, Ethan. Later, I met Marcus Hayes at the library. He'd noticed my tension the past week and cornered me as soon as I sat down. Man, you look like hell. What's eating you? Marcus asked, leaning back in his chair. I hesitated. Family. My parents, they've been betraying me. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Betraying? How bad? Really bad, I muttered. Manipulating my choices, my future, all for their social image. He smirked. Sounds like it's time for payback. What do you mean? I asked warily. Marcus leaned forward, voice low. You don't have to take it lying down. Think about it. Expose them. Show the world they're not perfect. Let them feel the consequences of their own greed. I frowned, the idea both thrilling and terrifying. I don't know if I could do that. It's risky. Risks are part of the game, Ethan, he said. You're smart, careful. You could turn this around in your favor. Make them regret messing with you. I swallowed, feeling the seed of something dangerous sprout inside me. Part of me hated Marcus for planting it. Part of me was grateful for the clarity. I felt trapped, torn between revenge, self-preservation, and not losing Sophie in the chaos. Walking home, I replayed the day over and over. Sophie's voice echoed in my mind, pleading with me not to destroy myself. Marcus's smirk lingered, tempting me to act. And the words of my parents, cold, calculated, unfeeling, burned into my chest. They think I'm powerless. I clench my fists. They're wrong. That night, lying in bed, I realized something important. Their betrayal wasn't a mistake. It was intentional. And if I didn't decide how to respond, I'd either lose myself or let them control me forever. I didn't know what I would do yet. But I knew one thing. I couldn't trust them anymore. Not now. Not ever. And that realization, that bitter truth, twisted deep in my chest. I didn't think it could get worse. I was wrong. I met Sophie at the park, trying to act normal, but every smile felt hollow. She tilted her head. Ethan, you're quieter than usual. What's going on? I avoided her gaze. Nothing, just tired. She frowned. You keep saying that. I can tell it's more than fatigue. I sighed. It's my parents. They've been. I don't even know how to explain it. Try me, she said gently. I shook my head. Sophie, they've been sharing my private struggles. Personal things. Secrets I trusted them with, and they sold them to boost their social image. Sophie blinked. Sold? As in, bragging to the wrong people. I ran a hand through my hair. More than bragging. They've leaked achievements, failures, things I never wanted anyone to know. All to make themselves look important, influential. Her hand gripped mine. Ethan, that's cruel. I laughed bitterly. Cruel doesn't even cover it. Humiliating, violating. I feel like I don't even exist to them as a person. Just a tool. Sophie's voice softened. I can't imagine how that feels. But you can't let them destroy you. I shook my head. It's not just about me anymore. People are starting to whisper, even in school. I I can feel eyes on me, judging, dissecting. And it's all they're doing. Sophie's grip tightened. Ethan, you're stronger than that. You'll figure it out. I forced a smile, but my mind was elsewhere. I needed answers. I couldn't confront them directly, not yet. So I started digging quietly. That evening, I went to my father's study under the pretense of asking about college applications. I lingered near his desk while he answered the phone. My eyes caught a folder labeled Achievements and Plans, Confidential. My heart skipped. I opened it. There it was, every personal detail about me, meticulously cataloged, ready to impress their social circle. Awards, essays, my worst grades, even a note about my panic attacks last year. I swallowed. How could they? I whispered. A voice startled me. You found it, huh? I spun around. Victoria Lane stood in the doorway, a faint smirk on her lips. She looked almost out of place. Sharp suit, sharp eyes, sharp presence. I didn't expect you to discover this so soon. I backed away. What are you doing here? Victoria stepped inside. Clara's old friend. I've known about her methods, let's say, for years. You're lucky I noticed you were poking around. I narrowed my eyes. Methods. She shrugged. Manipulation, deceit, image over everything. Your parents aren't as innocent as they pretend. I clenched my fists. I already knew that. But this selling my private life? That crosses a line I can't forgive. Victoria studied me for a moment. Careful. Anger can be useful or destructive. You have choices, Ethan. You can confront them publicly, or you can be smarter. Plan your move carefully. I shook my head. I don't know if I can wait. I feel so exposed, so humiliated. How could they do this to me? Victoria stepped closer, voice calm. They've always put themselves first. That's their nature. But you can take control. Decide who you are, what they can't touch. That folder? It's not just proof. It's leverage. My stomach twisted. Leverage. The word echoed. For the first time, the humiliation felt like a weapon. I could use their own arrogance against them. But, Sophie, I said, my voice shaking, I can't let this destroy my relationship with her either. If I focus too much on revenge, I might lose everything else that matters. Victoria's smile was subtle, knowing. Then choose wisely. Start small. Gather what you need. Make sure they never see it coming. I nodded slowly. I can do that. I will. Later that night, I called Sophie. Sophie, I need to explain something. About my parents and what's happening. Her voice was soft. Ethan, you can tell me everything. I inhaled deeply. They've been manipulating my life, selling private things about me to look better. I'm humiliated. And I don't know what to do yet, but I need to take back control. There was silence on the other end. Then Sophie said, I'm here. We'll figure this out together. Just don't let anger control you. I hung up and stared at my ceiling. Anger burned, but beneath it, a strange clarity emerged. Their betrayal was deliberate, calculated. And if I wanted to survive it, if I wanted justice, I had to be smarter. This is the first step, I thought. The first step to taking back what's mine. And maybe, just maybe, letting them taste a fraction of the chaos they created. I couldn't stop thinking about what Victoria had said. Leverage. Control. Power. My parents had underestimated me for too long. It was time to act. I met Liam at the cafe, trying to hide the excitement in my voice. Liam, I think I need to start gathering evidence. About my parents. He raised an eyebrow. Evidence? Ethan, are you serious? Yes, I said, lowering my voice. I can't just sit here while they manipulate everything. I need to know exactly what they've done. Then, I can decide my next move. Liam frowned. I don't like this. Revenge is risky. I leaned forward. It's not about revenge yet. It's about control. I need to know what I'm dealing with. He sighed. Fine, but promise me you won't go overboard. Be careful, okay? I nodded. I will. That evening, I started small. I checked emails, old messages, anything that hinted at who my parents had shared my personal information with. I recorded conversations subtly whenever possible. Every name I found, every detail they had sold, made my stomach twist with a mix of guilt and exhilaration. The next day, I met Sophie at the library. She looked worried the moment she saw me. Ethan, you're obsessed. I can see it in your eyes. I forced a smile. I'm just focused. She shook her head. No, this isn't just focus. You're letting anger consume you. Revenge isn't worth losing yourself, Ethan. Please listen to me. I felt a pang of guilt, but I couldn't stop. Sophie, I need to do this. I can't keep being their pawn. I need to reclaim my life, my dignity. She grabbed my hand. I get it. I do. But don't forget who you are in the process. Don't let them turn you into someone you'll regret being. I pulled my hand away gently. I know. I'll be careful. Later, Marcus found me at the park, notebook in hand. I heard you're digging into the Walker files, he said, smirking. That's brilliant. You should make them pay for every second of humiliation. I frowned. Marcus, I'm not looking to hurt them unnecessarily. I just want them to see consequences. He leaned closer. Consequences are exactly what I'm talking about. Don't half-step, Ethan. Show them what happens when you underestimate someone. I clenched my fists. He was right in a way, and wrong in another. I didn't want to lose myself completely in hatred, but the temptation of making them feel a fraction of what I felt was overwhelming. That night, I quietly recorded a conversation between my parents discussing their social connections and how they had shared information about me with key people. Every word I captured felt like fire in my veins. I felt exhilarated, yes, but also a deep guilt. Am I crossing a line? I thought. This is who I am now, someone hiding, plotting. Is this justice or just my anger talking? I told myself it was necessary. I had no other choice. The next morning, I met Liam again. He watched me as I pored over the recordings. Ethan, this is serious. You're not just exposing lies now, you're building a case, maybe even a war. I nodded slowly. I know, and I have to be smart. No mistakes. They can't know I'm onto them yet. Liam's expression softened. Just don't lose yourself in the process. Remember, this is about reclaiming your life, not letting anger take over. I nodded, appreciating his quiet support. He didn't push, didn't lecture. He just reminded me that I wasn't alone. That small anchor gave me courage. Later that day, Sophie confronted me again. Ethan, I can see it. You're not just reclaiming control, you're obsessed. You're hiding in shadows, whispering to yourself, plotting. This isn't you. This isn't love, isn't life. Don't let them steal your soul while you fight back. I shook my head, voice tight. I can't ignore what they've done. Every detail they shared, every secret, it's theirs to lose, not mine. I have to do this, Sophie. I have to reclaim my power. She looked at me, tears in her eyes. And if you lose yourself in the process? What then, Ethan? I felt the weight of her words. I had to remind myself that my plan wasn't blind rage. It was strategy. Every conversation, every recording, every subtle seed of doubt I planted among their friends and colleagues was calculated. I wasn't reckless, not yet. By the end of the week, I had started dropping hints in conversations with mutual friends of my parents. Carefully phrased questions, subtle suggestions of misconduct, little details that seemed innocent but raised suspicion. The thrill of seeing doubt take root made my pulse quicken, but a part of me recoiled at the manipulation. This is my first real step, I thought, and I can't turn back now. That night, I called Sophie. I know you're worried. I'm careful, I promise. This isn't about hatred, it's about control. She sighed. I want to believe you, Ethan. I really do. Just don't lose yourself in it. Please. I won't, I said, though part of me wondered if I already had. As I hung up, I sat in the dark, listening to the silence. My heart raced with anticipation and fear. I was no longer a passive victim. I was plotting, calculating, taking steps toward the reckoning my parents had unknowingly invited. And for the first time, I felt the dangerous, intoxicating mix of power and morality collide inside me. This is only the beginning. I watched from the sidelines as the first ripples began. My parents' carefully curated world was starting to crack, and I stayed in the shadows, observing. Ethan, have you seen the posts online? Sophie asked nervously during lunch. People are talking about your parents. Their friends, colleagues, it's everywhere. I leaned back, taking a bite of my sandwich, pretending nonchalance. I've noticed. She frowned. Ethan, this isn't just whispers. Some of it's serious. It's affecting their business connections. Investors are hesitant. People are questioning them openly. I shrugged lightly. That's natural. When lies start to surface, people notice. Sophie's voice dropped. Natural? Ethan, you've been so cold lately. I don't even recognize you. I didn't answer immediately. The thrill of seeing my parents' control slip was intoxicating, but part of me recoiled. I'm focused, I said finally. Focused on understanding the truth and making sure things don't get worse for people who don't deserve it. She looked unconvinced. And what about me? What about us? You're so consumed by this plan that I feel like you're disappearing. I felt the sting, but I couldn't let it derail me. I haven't disappeared, Sophie. I'm just careful, calculating. If I act recklessly, it could backfire. She sighed, exasperated. I don't want you to lose yourself while you try to make them pay. I took her hand gently. I know. I promise I'm still me. Just a version of me that's awake now. Liam approached later that day, sliding into the seat across from me at the cafe. Ethan, you're playing a dangerous game. The way your parents' circle is unraveling, you're manipulating people like a pro. I smiled faintly. I'm just guiding things. I can't risk direct confrontation. Everything has to feel organic, like coincidence. He nodded slowly. That's smart. But remember, perception is fragile. One wrong move, and it could all come crashing down on you too. I know, I admitted. I've calculated it. Every conversation, every subtle hint I drop, every seed of doubt, careful, controlled. Impressive, Liam said. But don't forget the cost. You're becoming someone people might not recognize. Even you. I swallowed, acknowledging the warning. I'm aware. But watching them struggle, it's satisfying in a way. Not just public embarrassment, Sophie. It's the fear in their eyes, the frustration in their voices. That's real power. Ethan, Sophie said quietly, appearing beside us. That's dangerous thinking. Power isn't just about making people feel small. You have to ask yourself if you're doing this for justice, or just revenge. I looked at her, the words cutting sharper than any insult. Do you think I care anymore? They sold my life, Sophie. Every choice I've made, every trust I've given, they treated it like currency. They deserve to feel the chaos they caused. Her eyes filled with tears. And if it consumes you? If you become like them? I didn't answer. I knew the truth. The line between justice and obsession was already blurred. But I also knew I couldn't stop now. That evening, I watched my parents at a charity event. I stayed across the street, hidden in the shadows. Richard's hand trembled slightly as he signed a check for an important donation. Clara laughed too loudly, clearly overcompensating, scanning the room nervously. This is just the beginning, I thought, heart racing. I'm not done. The next day, subtle rumors had reached their business associates. Emails hinting at mismanagement, vague suggestions of scandal. I had planted them carefully. Nothing traceable, nothing obvious. Just enough to nudge the cracks wider. Marcus appeared later, grinning. Looks like the dominoes are falling. You're unstoppable, man. They don't even know who's tipping the first one. I nodded. It's all calculated. I'm careful. Careful, Marcus repeated, smirking. Yeah, careful, but this is fun, isn't it? I didn't answer. Fun wasn't the right word. Satisfaction was closer, but it was tinged with fear. Fear of what I was becoming. That night, Sophie confronted me again. Ethan, you can't keep doing this. You're cold, distant, calculating every moment. I'm scared you're losing yourself. I ran my fingers through my hair. I'm aware of that, but I can't stop now. Not until they understand the consequences of what they've done. She shook her head. I don't know if I can forgive you for how you've changed. I felt a pang, sharper than any fear. Sophie, I'm still me. But this is necessary. I can't let them destroy me without pushback. She looked at me silently, then walked away. I didn't call her back. I didn't want to. Alone, I reflected on the week. Social gossip, subtle business leaks, whispered suggestions among their friends. My plan was unfolding. And yet, seeing them fall emotionally, their confidence shaken, it was more potent than I imagined. This is the power I've claimed, I thought. The power to control my destiny, to make them face reality. But, am I losing myself in the process? I clenched my fists, heart pounding. Satisfaction mixed with fear. I was no longer the passive son I once was. I had become a force to be reckoned with. And in that quiet, shadowed moment, I realized the truth I could no longer ignore. I had tasted power, and it was intoxicating. I have to be careful, but I won't stop. I saw it in their eyes before they said a word: panic. My parents, Richard and Clara, were finally realizing that their carefully constructed world was crumbling. Ethan, Dad's voice trembled, almost foreign. Can we talk? I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Talk? After everything? After the secrets, the manipulation, the lies? Clara stepped forward, face pale. We didn't mean to hurt you like this. We thought we were helping. Helping? I laughed, bitter and sharp. Selling my life, my struggles, my private thoughts. That's helping? Tell me how. Dad's hands shook as he gestured. Ethan, we only wanted to protect you, to give you opportunities, prestige, connections. You don't understand the pressures. Pressures? I snapped, cutting him off. The only pressure I felt was from you. From your expectations. You never cared what I wanted. Mom's eyes glistened. We did. We always thought we knew what was best. We didn't realize how much it hurt you. I felt my chest tighten. Not realized? Dad, Mom, you're living it now. Do you even understand how it feels to have your life treated like a commodity? Dad swallowed, voice low. We didn't think it would go this far. Not think it would go this far. I echoed, voice rising. Do you see the whispers? The glances? People questioning everything about me, judging me. Because of you? Do you feel it? Clara shook her head, but tears ran freely. Ethan, I didn't mean for it to be public. I didn't know they'd use it like this. I stepped closer, voice cold. You did. You handed my life over like it was nothing. And now, you're watching the consequences unfold and hoping I'll forgive you because you didn't anticipate the fallout. Dad ran a hand through his hair, desperation creeping in. Ethan, we can fix this. We can apologize. We can make things right. I laughed, bitter and hollow. Fix this? You can't fix trust once it's broken. You can't undo humiliation or the fear I felt knowing my life wasn't my own. At that moment, Victoria Lane appeared at the doorway, sharp and deliberate. I see you've finally decided to confront the fallout, she said. Her eyes flicked between us all, measuring, calculating. Mom gasped. Victoria, what are you doing here? Victoria smirked faintly. Observing. Sometimes people don't understand the full consequences of betrayal until someone shows them. Consider me a mirror. Dad's face tightened. This isn't the time for theatrics, Victoria. I ignored them, turning back to my parents. Look at yourselves. The cracks in your world are visible to everyone. The respect you thought you had? Gone. The connections you relied on? Shaky. And it's because of the choices you made about me. Choices I never consented to. Clara shook her head, voice trembling. Ethan, please. We were wrong. We see it now. We regret it. I felt a pang of something, empathy, or maybe just memory, but I pushed it down. Regret doesn't erase the damage. And it doesn't bring me back the agency you stole from me. Dad's eyes burned with desperation. Ethan, we can make amends. Anything you want, we'll do. Just don't let this ruin us completely. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Don't you see? It already has. Your world is destabilized. And no apology, no promise, can give you back the control you thought you had over me. That's gone forever. Victoria's voice cut in, sharp and measured. Ethan, this is the moment where you decide the final balance, justice or complete ruin. They're powerless because you chose patience, precision. Their regret is genuine, but they're powerless because you gave them no opportunity to defend themselves effectively. I nodded, feeling the weight of her words. Part of me wanted to lash out, to make them feel every ounce of the humiliation and fear they inflicted. Another part, smaller but insistent, whispered, mercy. Compassion. Clara reached for me, voice cracking. Ethan, please. I know we hurt you, but I am asking, can you forgive us? I paused, feeling my pulse hammer in my ears. Part of me wanted to say yes, to release this pent-up anger. But the other part, colder, more calculating, knew that forgiveness now would erase the lesson they needed to learn. I shook my head slowly. I can't, not yet. You'll feel the consequences of your choices, and only then will you understand the weight of what you did. Forgiveness isn't mine to give, it's yours to earn, and you've barely begun to grasp it. Dad's face fell. Ethan, please, we will do anything. You'll live with it, I said quietly. Every day, every decision, every glance. That's your punishment. And maybe, in time, maybe I'll consider letting this go. But not now. Not until you understand what it means to betray someone completely. Victoria stepped aside, her smirk faint but approving. Well done, Ethan. You've reached the apex of control. Now watch and learn from their despair. It's as much a part of growth as your own patience. I exhaled, trying to calm the storm inside me. Watching their regret, hearing their desperate justifications, I felt a grim satisfaction. And yet a flicker of doubt lingered. Am I losing myself in this? I thought. Am I becoming like them? Or am I finally reclaiming who I am? I looked at my parents, broken but alive, and realized that the answer was somewhere in between. The balance of justice and mercy, power and empathy. It was mine to navigate. And for the first time, I understood the true weight of being in control. I watched from the balcony as the world I had rebuilt in secret slowly consumed my parents. Richard's face was pale, lines etched deeper than ever. Clara's laughter, once rehearsed, polished, perfect, now rang hollow at every event. I felt a grim satisfaction, a cold relief, but also an uneasy flicker of guilt. Sophie appeared at my side, hands tucked into her coat pockets. "Ethan, I need to know, are you proud of what this has done?" Her eyes searched mine, cautious, wary. I turned to her, calm but firm. Proud isn't the word. Satisfied, maybe. They've faced the consequences of their choices. It's justice, in its own quiet way. She shook her head, voice soft but trembling. Justice. Or vengeance. There's a line, Ethan. Don't tell me you crossed it without regret. I took a deep breath, recalling every recording, every whispered suggestion, every subtle seed of doubt I'd planted. It wasn't about cruelty. It was about reclaiming what they tried to take from me. My life, my agency, my dignity. And yes, it's intoxicating to see them falter. But I've tried to stay aware of the line. Sophie stepped closer. But you've changed. I can feel it. You're not the same Ethan I met months ago. You've carried all this power, and it weighs on you. I swallowed, looking down at my hands. I know. I feel it. Every day, a mix of exhilaration and fear. Fear that I've become what I despised, or that I'll let this obsession consume the rest of me. She took my hand, her warmth grounding me. Ethan, can love survive this? Can we survive this? I met her gaze. I want to believe so. But love isn't blind to transformation. It sees everything, and I've seen too much to pretend nothing happened. All I can promise is honesty, and that I'm trying to hold on to the person I want to be, not just the one my anger created. She nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. Then I'll try too. But promise me you won't let this path define you entirely. I promise, I whispered. And I meant it. Liam appeared beside us, a quiet presence, his gaze steady. You've done what you set out to do, Ethan. Their pride is shattered, their secrets exposed. But remember, your own soul isn't part of the plan to ruin them. Don't lose yourself in the aftermath. I exhaled, letting the weight of his words sink in. I felt the danger, Liam. The thrill of control, the satisfaction of justice. It's intoxicating, but I'm aware. I won't let it consume me. I've learned my lesson. He nodded, the faintest smile crossing his face. Good, because karma is one thing, but living with yourself afterward is another. I reflected on everything. Every betrayal, every subtle manipulation, every anxious night recording conversations and planting doubt. I had grown, sharpened, transformed. My parents' arrogance had been their undoing, and I had been patient enough to wield the quiet power of consequences rather than chaos. Later, I confronted them one final time. They sat stiffly in the study, the air thick with tension. Ethan, Dad's voice cracked. We understand now. Truly, we've lost everything we thought mattered. Please, is there anything we can do? I shook my head slowly. There's nothing you can do to erase what's happened. You'll carry this, the consequences of your actions. And perhaps that will teach you more than any apology I could give. Clara's hands trembled. Please forgive us. We never intended this. I exhaled. Forgiveness. I don't know if I can give it yet. Time will tell. But you will feel the weight of your choices. And that is justice enough for now. Victoria Lane appeared briefly at the doorway, her presence sharp and deliberate. You've done well, Ethan. Their pride destroyed, their secrets revealed, and you've maintained control. Remember, the power of patience outweighs the rush of immediate retaliation. I nodded, acknowledging her words silently. Her guidance had shaped my strategy, kept me balanced while walking the edge of obsession. That night, alone in my room, I stared at the ceiling. I felt the heavy mix of emotions, exhilaration, guilt, sorrow, satisfaction. My parents' world was fractured, my secrets avenged. But more importantly, I had evolved. I had faced betrayal, wrestled with anger, and learned the fine line between justice and vengeance. Sophie's words echoed in my mind. Don't let this path define you entirely. I closed my eyes, imagining a future where my choices were no longer reactions, but deliberate, mindful actions. Where I could love, forgive, and live without the constant pull of past treacheries. I am not just the boy my parents tried to control, I thought. I am the man who reclaimed his life, who faced betrayal and survived. Karma has its course, but I have mine too. A soft ping from my phone broke the silence. A message from Sophie. I'm proud of you. Let's move forward, together. I smiled faintly, a bittersweet mix of relief and lingering wariness. Together, I whispered. I knew the path ahead wouldn't be simple. Healing, trust, and reconciliation take time. But for the first time, I felt a quiet, haunting satisfaction. The cycle of betrayal and revenge had ended. My parents' pride was gone. My secrets were safe. And I, finally, had become my own person. Closure or karma, I mused. Perhaps it's both. And perhaps that's enough.